Hello, loves. So I wanted to share, just share something that I'm thinking about, and sort of like the ground of some of my work and my offerings. And I'm in this lovely anti-racist embodiment through yoga training through the Embodied Philosophy Forum, and with facilitated by Francesca Maxime. And one thing that we talked about today is the identity of whiteness. And something that I've been doing but didn't even recognize that I had language for was turning towards lineage and turning towards my roots, I guess, and where I, as a white person, a European American, comes from. And as someone whose ancestors come from Ireland and Hungary and France through Canada, Germany, I think that's it, England, of course, that I know of, it's been so fertile to me to turn towards those indigenous practices of my lineage, and to me that's looked like studying the wheel of the year and celebrating the points of those wheel, such as the winter solstice, the summer solstice, the equinoxes, as well as the midpoints upon the wheel. And it has been deeply grounding to me because it takes me out of what I now have language for, which is this dominant culture that is built upon white supremacy, not because whites are supreme, but because in the system, whiteness is given proximity to power. So the system of dominance through white supremacy and heteronormativity and the gender binary and capitalism, all of which establish a normal, as well as ableism and an establishment of this is what neurotypical looks like, all of that. And that system of domination would have all people would exploit people's labor and exploit human bodies. It traditionally has exploited the global south and brown and black bodies more than white bodies, how the system is constructed. And all people in the capitalist system, if they are not able to work 40 hours a week, 60 hours a week, people with disabilities or differing abilities, people with neurodivergence, people with trauma, with mental health, variances in mental health, people with skills that are being replaced by technology. The system would have us, the dominant system it's a culture and a system of usury and objectification. And what has informed so much of my work, I'm now realizing, is an antidote to all of that. And recognizing myself as a white person who is non-binary and pansexual and, intersecting identities there, I'm really realizing that so much of the work that I can do at this moment in my current geographical, majorly white rural space is connect with other white people and invite us to understand what our ancestors left behind by coming to this country and assimilating. When the Irish first came here and I don't have Italian in my lineage, but I know of many examples of Italians too. When my ancestors came here, um, there was signs, no Irish allowed, Irish not hired here. And the concept of the expansion of whiteness meant that the Polish, the Italian, the Irish, and the more recent waves of immigrants, as we in the United States are a country built on immigrant labor, the people from Mexico or South America or India and Afghanistan and Russia, these recent waves of immigrants are being asked to do the same thing, which is we are a melting pot. We have an American culture, United States culture. And in order to assimilate here, you need to leave your ancestral lineage behind. You need to leave your traditional wear behind. We are a Christian nation founded on Christian principles. You need to assimilate to that, and don't let me know through your language or your appearance or asking for accommodations that you are Sikh or Muslim or Hindu or Jewish or anything besides the Christian normativity. And what that does, that forced assimilation does, is it's so subtle because it's not forced, it's in places like France, it is forced. They're banning the hijab, which is ludicrous and incredibly Islamophobic. And it's so much more subtle here of, the American dream is available to everyone. You just have to be skinny and straighten your hair and wear contacts and be able to work 60 hours a week without benefits and sacrifice your familial relationships and move wherever the good jobs are and leave your culture behind. Leave your connection to the land of your ancestors behind and their ancestral practices. So I think this is so important for everyone everyone who can. It's harder for people who experienced being enslaved, their ancestors. It's harder to understand where their ancestors came from. I have the privilege, and so many other white people have the privilege of being able to look back and look through our ancestral lineage. And what we can do with that privilege is look into the practices that we gave up to assimilate to this culture. And those practices will be deeply healing because our ancestors made them. They lived them. And what was sacrificed to be participating in this culture of objectification and usury was connection to nature and a cyclical way of being. In capitalism, you're doing the same job every day, repetitive, physically or mentally. You're not invited to show up emotional variance. And so many of us are disconnected through white-collar work or blue-collar work, unless you're a farm worker in so many ways, just from the natural world. So turning towards ancestral practices, whatever they are, for me, growing plants and knowing plant medicine has been immensely nurturing, as well as living in the woods, living close to nature. Each person in their intersecting identities will have a particular way of relating to their ancestors through ceremony and celebration. So I just wanted to mention that this turning towards your lineage can inform the liberation work and create a groundedness of mutuality. So we're combating that white saviorism and that idea of just need to help people, right? No, I am free as much as, you are free and the land is free. This is the mutuality of connection. So some thoughts on the grounded work that I'm only now having language for, and concepts around the expansion of whiteness and what we have all sacrificed in our lineage to become the American dream, the American melting pot. Curious how this lands in you, whether you resonate with it, hate it, find it interesting, or maybe you've been doing this work, maybe this is a new idea to you. Yeah, I'm still deeply exploring this, and I'm grateful to be in conversation about it too. So thank you so much for tuning in. All my love to you, dear ones, and until we meet again, bye-bye.